guys, good morning. My name is Shreya. I am the student innovation mentor at M.I.C.E, and I am also a biomedical engineer. And innovation is something that I have been liking when I started off my journey. So that is why I am here. I am also a design thinking mentor. So today we would be learning a lot of new things. Maybe it would be overwhelming for you all कि अरे हाँ इतना सब कुछ हो रहा था हमको नहीं पता था हम कौन से दुनिया में थे. But no, okay, you are now entering a creative zone. Okay, I want you all to be as interactive as possible. It shouldn't sound like a one-sided conversation wherein I'm just talking and you guys are just being sponges and recepting everything. नहीं, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. सब लोग बात करो. This is a learning program which is designed for you all. So let's make it a bit fun. Okay. Alright. So I did tell you all about M.I.C.E, right? So M.I.C.E is Medical Innovation, Creativity and Entrepreneurship Lab. It is an innovation lab especially for medical students like you all who have a special affinity towards medical device innovation, research and entrepreneurship. So you do see a lot of these terms on Instagram like we are a medpreneur, which is like a medical professional and an entrepreneur. So that is what we do there. We help people incubate their businesses. We help them bring their ideas onto reality. That is what we do. We are located at Sir JJ Hospital, which is a state-run government hospital. The lab was funded by Dr. Aniruddha Malpani and his wife Dr. Anjali Malpani. They both are IB specialists. And they, sir and ma'am, had a vision of equipping medical students with the right resources so that they are not just your next door doctors, but they are also healthcare professionals equipped with all of the necessary things that makes them different from other clinicians. Alright, so why are we here today? For the hackathon, right? So what do you all expect from this hackathon? What is your takeaway going to be from this hackathon? Tell me.
And definitely, being in college, most of our time goes in doing theoretical work.
Right.
This is what I expect. We should learn something what to do on field and what to innovate behind the traditional healthcare and OPDs. This is something new which we don't usually get to see in college. That's why.
Okay. So we are here basically to see how to solve problems differently, understand and implement the process of thinking, because हमको खुद के बारे में भी अगर हमको कुछ बोलना होता है तो हम कितना सोचने लगते हैं, मैं क्या बोलूँ मेरे बारे में. That is what the first thought comes onto your mind, right? So this is basically to help you all with the thinking process, like how can you all get about that thing, how to identify your problems. So since you guys are healthcare professionals, also engineers, we do see a lot of problems around us, right? But what is our normal reaction? मेरे को भी पढ़ाई करना है या मुझे अपना thesis submit करना है, ये तो होते रहेगा. So by the end of the session, I want you all to get out of the bystander effect and understand problems effectively and work towards it, okay? And to bust myths which revolve around innovation. So basically, when we hear about innovation, a medical student might feel कि अरे मुझे तो AI नहीं आता है, ML नहीं आता है, मैं क्या breakthrough innovation करूँगा या करूँगी. Engineer might think कि मैं healthcare में कैसे अपना contribution दूँगा. So innovation is not necessarily something which has to be a breakthrough one. It can be as simple as flipping this watch to make it so that it won't break or something like that. So that is where your innovation ka process exactly revolves around. Okay, so you all know me. My name is Shreya and I'm a biomedical engineer. I work at M.I.C.E labs. Okay, so now I need to know you all. So I'll just give myself an adjective of what exactly one thing that describes me. Then you all tell me what one thing that describes you all. So I describe myself as water because I am adaptable to change. Maybe I can overcome my fears and I'm flexible and I do things graciously. So that is what water is like. It is fierce also, it is calm also. So that is the one word that describes me. We'll start off with you. What is that one word that describes you? Any random word, okay? Not necessarily it has to be philosophical only.
I think feels.
Okay. Why?
I'm open to new ideas, open to change. I think I can open to I like environments.
I'm Krishna. I don't think of an adjective for myself, but I remember one of my teachers calling me sweetener because I just like to make things easier for everyone so that everyone can accommodate and have fun.
Okay. You?
I am Ayush, and let's say I'm Iron Man because I can just take all the engineering stuff and let it out as an innovation to the world.
Okay.
I am also Krishna. Okay, let's Krishna Vardhan, so you can all call me Vardhan because we already have a Krishna.
Okay.
So I like to be a sponge, as you said in the beginning, because I like to receive things and accumulate it, and then whenever it is needed, I'll give it.
Okay.
I am Rohan, and I would like to call myself like a collaborator. Like actually, I had previously done some projects. Like I had collaborated with some different department and field. Like actually, I'm used to this.
You?
I am Yasha, and adjective which suits me, I
Think of
can't
anything
sum
right
up.
now.
So I'm calm person.
Okay.
Myself, home, and for an adjective, I would be like a jelly. It's adaptable only, just a hard.
Okay.
I'm Mansi, actually I can't think of anything, but right now I'll say I'm like a samosa.
Okay.
And tastes good, but not good for health.
Alright.
Hello, I'm Ashwini. I'll call myself maybe Captain Marvel.
Okay. So that's empowering.
It's sort of like I'll pick up the things which empowering.
Okay. I get it. We'll explore your superpowers soon.
And I'm Avdeep and approaches.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Ciara, and I'm like a treasure box. If you open it, you'll find great innovative ideas.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Suhani, and I think I'm very enthusiastic and curious to know new things. Can I also put
Yeah, sure. So I am Palak, and I would like to call myself a Jugadu, which is a very Hindi term for innovation or innovator. So yeah, I am a Jugadu. Okay. I like to make setups like this. Yeah, totally. So I absolutely did that in the last minute. So yeah, it was very nice, hearing all these terms, samosa, Captain Marvel, or whatever. It was very nice meeting you all in person because then, and guys, we are going to be there with each other for 2 days. Make sure it is a sweet experience, not a bitter one. Work in collaboration with each other. मैं ये नहीं करूँगी, ऐसे कुछ मत बोलना, ठीक है? Let's work in sync. Let's make it a good memory that you will be taking with you all forever. Okay. So what is the difference between invention and innovation? Bolo.
something that already exists and just finding solutions, creating something.
Okay, so you told the opposite. Okay. Yeah. So invention is basically which was not existing. It was discovered and then it became like a breakthrough one. Innovation is something which is already there and then you do an extension of it to make it a bit easier for everyone around. So that is the major difference between innovation and invention. Okay, so innovation has this, like a Venn diagram which has 3 components: desirability, viability, and feasibility. So rule number 1, whenever we are getting onto that phase of design thinking, we are not designing it for ourselves, we are designing it for the another person, which is our user. Okay, so the first rule is a desirable solution, what the customer needs and not just what you are offering as a company or maybe as a service provider. Second is like feasible, whether that solution is feasible or not. You might be getting something onto a table like a big one, but मेरा छोटा सा काम करने के लिए अगर मुझे वो बहुत बड़ी चीज यूज करनी पड़ेगी, it does not make sense, right? Then is a viable thing. It should be a sustainable and a profitable business. it just shouldn't be like one-sided, wherein तुम लोग बहुत अच्छा solution दे रहे हो but you're not charging enough so that your company does not run. And another thing is कि you're just so much swelled up with greed that you end up giving nothing to them and all you think about is profits. So there should be a sweet balance between all those things. That is where your sweet spot for innovation lies. Okay, so there are a few types of innovation. We'll see everything in detail. One is the incremental one that we see. So they do nothing new. It's just like वो एक product ही बना रहे हैं and they keep on doing it. Like ऐसे blades maybe you don't see much of a difference. It is one and the same thing which is marketed for years. Then is a line extension wherein a product is built. For example, say Colgate. So then they have this mint wala flavored. Then they have the sugar-free mint wala flavored and whatnot. So it is just like an extension of things. Then is the copycat, like Uber, Ola है, same service provide कर रहे हैं. There is nothing different. So that is just building another one of an existing product. Then we have watered down, which is basically you very aspirational at the start कि मुझे ये बनाना है, मुझे ये करना है. And जब आप इतना over analytics कर लेते हो, at the end of the time, अरे मुझे तो drone बनाना था पर मैंने paper plane बना दिया. Okay, and then there is your fad, which we see all over the internet: gluten-free, sugar-free, lactose-intolerant, and all those stuff. So those are your fad ones. Over-analyze is something तुमको एक चीज release करनी है, but then you think so much about it. For example, this is a water bottle. So now आपको अगर ये cap भी बनाना चाहिए, नहीं इसमें इतने number of lines होंगे तो ही मैं release करूँगा. But it does not matter to the user. User को क्या चाहिए? Water bottle चाहिए, जिससे water spill नहीं हो, and it is like portable, right? Then is your overcomplicated one. Already एक चीज है which has a lot of complexities, but what you do, you tend to add too many functions to it, making it like very much complicated for people to use, and then eventually what happens? Your product dies a slow death. And then is your breakthrough one. You think that it won't ever work, but then once suddenly you have that moment wherein okay, this is where it all started and that is how your innovation happens. Okay, so we have been also seeing these terms like UI, UX all around the internet. So can you all tell me what exactly does it mean? Do you all have any idea what is UI and what is UX?
UI is supposed to be user interface, right?
Okay, yeah, right, correct. And
UX is user experience.
Experience, right? Okay. So now I would give you all a small example of what exactly UI and UX is. So parents toys लेकर आए बच्चे के लिए, who is in a cradle. So now the parents feel कि अरे यार बच्चे को कितना मजा आ रहा है, he can see all animals, swinging around, and what does the kid see? Different types of bumps, right? So that is what happens between UI and UX. You might feel this is necessary for the user, but it might necessarily not be. And what you end up doing is you kill the user's expectation, and then your product dies a natural death. So similarly, have you seen Flipkart use किया and Amazon use किया?
Yes.
Flipkart पे देखते हो ना कितने कलर्स होते हैं, बहुत सारा ऐसे सारा मुंह पे मारते हैं ऐसा लगता है, बहुत सारी चीजें, फॉन्ट का वो नहीं है, कलर कोऑर्डिनेशन सही है. But when you see Amazon, it is a pleasant experience. You have properly सारे toggles है एक जगह पे, you can easily navigate through things. And there are less colors and more of it is in a good fashion. So that is what happens with UI and UX, wherein we as developers, we as innovators have to take care of like what exactly the user wants and what are we exactly offering. So जब तुम्हारा ये clear हो जाएगा ना, तुमको लग रहा है as a product तुम बहुत कुछ अच्छा build कर, but then eventually is it useful for him or her? That is what is important. So what is design thinking according to you all? अभी मैंने इतना ज्ञान दे दिया, UI है, UX है, ये सारी चीजें. So what do you think design thinking according to you all? ये word सुन के क्या आता है दिमाग में? Any random thought?
That we have to design something which is useful for the user, not for us.
Okay. हाँ, but तुम भी एक user हो, तो something which is useful for the users and not think of something which from a service provider's end. Anybody else? No? Can't think of anything? Maybe I need to put more light? Okay. So design thinking according to us is It is a process wherein you think outside the box, you bring your ideas onto the table, you have a very innovative approach towards things. Okay. Then design thinking has to be a human-centered design, not an engineering-centered, not a medical-centered, but a human-centered design. Then it is absolutely learned by getting your hands dirty. You cannot be expecting sitting in a room and get innovating things. Of course, you have to get onto the field, talk to people, make a lot of iterations to whatever research or whatever things that you're doing, and that is how your product comes onto the table. And design thinking basically helps you all to shift your focus from a user-centric, from a business-centric product to a user-centric product. So at the end of it, no matter how entrepreneurship mindset you might be having, but once you decode design thinking, you will always think it from a user's perspective. Okay, so we use it back then also. The Sun Konark temple, you all know the 7 chariots and everything. How does light pass around? And you see a lot of monuments all over in India. How does it? And now we're using it in the form of, say, the smartphones that we have lately. I mean, the double screen one, the 3-way valve, which was like super important during the COVID times when there were less ventilators and everything. People never thought that, apart from birds, anything could fly. But now we have airplanes around us, and the mobile ambulance that we see. So ambulance healthcare we basically India is difficult, but then now we have mobile ambulances, which is again making things easier and taking innovation on to the next step. Okay, so we'll see a short video of what exactly design thinking looks in action, and I guess this video would be relatable to all. So yeah, have a good look.
Welcome to the honking capital of the world. Here, people honk even when the signal is red. So, maybe they think that by honking, they can make the signal turn green faster. Sometimes Wait, the Mumbai police were itching to do something about this. One day, we connected decibel meters to a few signal poles around the city. If the decibel level went over 85 dB, the signal would reset and stay red for longer. Khatam asa problem.
This is how you actually use your skills to. So this is a very big problem. Mumbai ही नहीं सिर्फ every metropolitan city traffic is something. So see, you do not need a big technology, कुछ AI integrated या ML integrated नहीं बनाया है. Simply एक timer use किया जो track कर रहा था चीजें, and that is how you have the solution. Okay, so as I stated earlier, innovation does not necessarily have to be breakthrough and कुछ बड़ा. It can be simpler steps to make people's life easier. Okay. So why do you think we need design thinking for? Apart from the traffic wala example that I gave you. लोग zone out हो गए थे. इतनी अच्छी वीडियो थी या मैं बुरा सिखा रही हूँ?
Solving the problem.
to solve any problems. Pretty lovely.
To improve user experience.
Okay. Nothing? Okay. So basically, to enable change, that is the first and foremost thing, because when we see a need to solve a problem, it definitely means that we need a few things to change around. That is why we see that problem, we start to notice that problem a bit more. To solve a concrete human need, so basically you need to identify your problems, well as well, because then you will be working on something which not be, that impactful. Tackles problems that are ambiguous to define, then it leads towards a more innovative solution. So basically at the end of the day what we need is an innovative solution that will help us to solve the problem, which would revolve around people. So what is an ideal design thinking mindset that we have? So an ideal design thinking mindset is built to think. हम पहले ही सोचेंगे नहीं कि हमको क्या बनाना है. We'll keep on building things around the problem, not thinking of whether it is feasible at this point or not, whether we are short of resources or not, because then at the end of the day you cannot be having like a room full of people who might be taking up different roles. It might be just you and your thoughts, and you are playing different roles. So you need to have that mindset that I am responsible for everything that happens around, and I will take help when required. Be visual about things, sketch a lot of things, because then when you don't have things on the table, आप बस वो you are on the cloud 9 and you're just building things. वो होता है ना, castle बना रहे हो बस dreams के, and then फिर on paper कुछ भी नहीं है, there is nothing to concrete to work on. Take a beginner's mindset. It is very much easier to teach kids because they are not arrogant, maybe they are not egoistic, and they dare to always learn new things. हमको ऐसे होता है ना, हमको तो सब आता है ना, तो ये mindset लेकर नहीं चलना है. We need to have a beginner's mindset wherein we are embracing changes, we are embracing constraints, we are eager to talk to people, we are eager to be a part of the system and then make changes. Work in interdisciplinary teams. So I guess this would be a good start wherein you all medicos would be working with engineers to understand how the tech part works, and you engineers would be working with medical students to understand how important is it to take clinical things into consideration, because we as engineers are always behind building something which is tech savvy, and as medicos I feel we are always behind something कि हाँ ये तो बन ही जाएगा ना. तो ये दोनों का understanding is very important, wherein you understand the clinical part of it कि okay there are some things which needs to be taken into consideration when integrating technology, and the clinical side में there are some things which technology also cannot solve, so we need to look out for some simpler solutions. So that is how your design thinking का entire mindset should be. Okay. So we have a lot of design thinking का processes. So this is the first model of your design thinking process, which is a double D, which is double diamond format. Okay. So your design thinking is based on these 4 pillars, wherein you empathize with the user, you gain insights. So when you're empathizing with the user, what you do is you have very divergent thought, wherein you're meeting a lot of people. But now a lot of people might be having a lot of problems which might not be solvable from your end. So what we can do is we can again converge our thoughts, get onto a part where it okay ये solve हो सकता है मेरे से, and इसको मैं ऐसे reframe कर सकती हूँ या कर सकता हूँ. Then we need to ideate, wherein again we are using divergence, bringing as many as wildest ideas on the table, not thinking of feasibility, not thinking of constraint at this point, and then again you prototype it and test, wherein you are building simple prototypes to understand जो ये मैं बनाने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ वो actually user को चाहिए या नहीं चाहिए. Then you test it among the users, and again you bring the process of again empathizing and again doing things. So we'll be getting onto with this thing in detail. So this is what a general skeleton of your design thinking looks like. So there are various design thinking processes which are used by different institutions and schools around the world. The one which we would be using is the Stanford Biodesign process, where we would be empathizing with the user, defining the problem, ideating the probable solutions, building prototypes based on it, and then testing it among the users. Okay. So, too much information? Okay. So there are certain tools to for especially design for each phase of design thinking, starting off with empathizing and ranging up to your test phase. Okay. So we'll be seeing all these things in detail, one by one. So this might seem like it is overwhelming right now, no, but it's not. When we would be getting to each phase of design thinking, I'll be teaching you all tools which would help you all to navigate onto the exact problem and develop solutions. Okay, so this is what I explained you all. We'll get in sync with each other one by one and then understand what each step exactly means. Okay, first is empathy. We always hear people saying that you should empathize with them, not just sympathize. So what is the general difference between both of them?
Putting buses in your shoes.
Right, empathizing and that. Sympathizing is?
It's just feeling sorry for them and not doing anything for them.
Okay. So I guess before you all get onto the design thinking phase, we could just sympathize with people. Okay, ये problem है, ये चीजें है, and by the end of it, we would be learning how to empathize with them and understand their problems and work towards things. Okay. So that is how your empathy and sympathy works. Okay. So your empathy has this process wherein first thing that you do is you observe the user. Okay. So now I would like to start off with an example so that you all understand every step of it a bit better, and then we could move out. Okay. So let's say we have a lot of patients at JJ Hospital coming. So we do see a lot of people coming there from areas such as Palghar, which are rural areas. They do not have basic access to healthcare or nothing as such. So now you see a person who is maybe see you guys are at the OPD or hospital building, and then you'll see you observe that person. That person looks distressed. He woke up at like say 3 in the morning. He took a bus from the for the hospital. Then he came here. He looks pretty much distressed. He does not understand a few things. Maybe he's not able to build a connect with everybody around, with the doctors, with the clinicians, or maybe there is a lot of hodgepodge going around. So this is how you observe that person and get to see the key traits of that person. Then what you do is you engage with that person. So you understand what are his or her pain points by asking a lot of questions. So that person would not starting may be that receptive and would end up being a bit under the closed shell कि मैं क्यों उसको बताऊँ, ये मेरी problem solve करने वाला है क्या या करने वाली है क्या. So that is how you extremely engage with the user. You understand, you make him feel comfortable around you and engage with him. And then you actually immerse with that person by sharing inspirational stories or something which you have experienced. अरे uncle आप आए हो, I could see you distressed. What has happened? हाँ, ऐसे similarly बहुत सारे लोग यहाँ पे आते हैं. We often see this. Could you please tell me more about it? So now you have created an environment for him wherein he can talk about his problems, right? So that is what we do when you observe, immerse, and engage with the user. So we'll be seeing a quick video wherein a few people did observe a few things and how they made changes to it is something that we're going to see right now. So do you all see? कुछ ब्रेक थ्रू था क्या उसमें? ए और एम एल यूज किया कुछ बेटर बनाने के लिए, कोई सेंसर यूज किया नहीं किया, राइट? इट वॉज एज सिंपल एज यू वर प्लेइंग विद पीपल्स माइंड, मेकिंग देम अंडरस्टैंड अ few things in a much simpler way. Because what happens is when you complicate things, use a lot of jargons which are not necessary, you tend to take that person's focus away from what you're actually trying to offer. Alright? So yeah, so we were talking about that uncle who was in the hospital as a tedious journey. So this is how you do your stakeholder mapping for that person. So stakeholder mapping actually helps us to understand whom are we building that particular product for, and what is the impact going to be for all the particular stakeholders involved. So those are clearly divided onto 3 parts, wherein you have the core, like the people who might get most affected by it. Then you have like direct members, direct stakeholders, where yes, they might get influenced by it. And then comes a larger picture where they might not be directly related to it, but yes, they do also play a major role. So in our case, what do you think core में कौन होगा? कौन होगा core में? That uncle would be, and patients like him who struggle with the same thing, right? Indirect में कौन होगा? Indirect में कौन हो सकता है? Hospital people?
Yeah.
Your doctors, your paramedical staff, your nurses, your management wale staff, and everybody who is involved running the hospital. Those are your direct ones. Okay. Who are your indirect ones?
Normal people.
Government, policy makers, public healthcare professionals. Because at the end of the day, they are the ones who build these policies around, which are then, sent down to the doctors, clinicians and management people who help things make better here. And then there are the patients who are the core ones who, using all these things might get their life a bit better. So this is how your stakeholder mapping happens. So whenever the problem statement would be released to you all for the final hackathon, make sure that you do your stakeholder mapping correctly, wherein you are placing every stakeholder which is directly involved, indirectly involved on the core place, so that you understand whom are you actually building this product for. Okay. So there are a lot of interviewing techniques as well. So there are 4 major techniques, which are icebreakers, grand tour, digging deeper, and magic wand. So we'll see one by one how does it happen. So first is the ice breaking thing, which I told you all. You all need to build a good rapport with that person and then expect him to open up with you all. Nobody would, one fine day come up and start blabbering about their problems. You need to create an environment for them, right? Then is the grand tour. You need to actually understand the journey of the user. वो सुबह 4 बजे उठते हैं. He, does his daily duties. He waits for the bus for maybe say another hour. He comes to JJ Hospital. He, waits for the OPD line, get the papers done and everything. Then around 2:33, he gets over with all those things and then he travels back. So now, are you understanding his journey? You can't say, अच्छा take a cab. है ना, वो हमारे दिमाग में तो ये है ना, टेक अ कैब, बट आर यू अंडरस्टैंडिंग हिज जर्नी? नो. वो बोल रहा है कि मैम मुझे वहां से आने के लिए तकलीफ होती है. सो नाउ योर इमीडिएट आंसर इज ओके, टेक अ कैब. बट इज दैट इकोनॉमिकली feasible for him? And how will you understand that? Once you map his journey, that is how you understand, right? Then is your digging deeper. So starting में that person might not be comfortable talking to us. So he might often end up saying कि ओके हाँ मुझे बस लेट मिलती है, मुझे बहुत दूर से आना पड़ता है, मैं रात को लेट सोता हूँ, and all those things. But then when you dig deeper, you understand कि उसके वहाँ पे कोई हॉस्पिटल ही नहीं है, और अगर हॉस्पिटल है, so it does not have that much of facilities which would be actually be useful to him. Super speciality नहीं है maybe, या MRI centers नहीं है, or something like that. And the third one is अगर है तो वो बहुत दूर है, और जो नज़दीक वाले हैं वो पास में तो है, but it is not economically feasible for him. So now you understand his actual problem is to have a economically feasible healthcare center around him. So how did we get onto this point? We digged deeper onto his problem, right? We tried to understand what is the exact pain point. Then we have the magic wand, which is telling users, okay, how would you bring out a solution for this particular problem? Okay, so giving him or her the power to understand कि okay, अगर मैं solution builder होता तो मैं क्या बनाता? So what happens is this helps you to understand better. Okay, this is the direction towards which I have to move. I cannot be building, say I am building an AI enabled app जो आपको teleconsultation देगा. That might be possible, but not on a personalized level, right? He needs to have a proper setup for it. Like, so again we are getting down to what from where we started. We need to have a healthcare center for him, which would be economically feasible. Okay, so here are general few quick tips while you all interview your users, which you all should do when you all are building your solutions. Just don't sit in a room and expect to things magically change. Talk to your potential stakeholders, then only you'll understand things. First is you need to set a clear goal of what exactly are you trying to solve. This helps to give you clarity about a lot of things. Second is you need to design your interview questions. Keep open-ended questions. Try to look out for non-verbal signs that that person might be giving out. Okay, this is a particular thing, maybe he's not talking about it, but you could make out from his facial expressions. Before you're recording anybody or taking pictures, make sure to take permission. Okay, is it making record of things is equally important, but asking consent is more important. Then you need to use critical incident questions wherein you are giving them a room to talk about their vulnerabilities by telling them about, okay, this particular situation also happened with this person, so you could talk about it. Okay, and then is you need to clarify a lot of things in real time and not just assume. Just because the person said something, if you've not heard it, or maybe you overheard a few things, or maybe you do not understand, so make sure that you get it cleared there itself, because then at the end of the time where you will be building an actual solution, so this point might reflect there, and then you might need to reiterate your work. So that is something which we need to at least avoid when things are in our hands. So we need to do that. Okay, so this is how your empathy mapping works. You all need to do it for the situations that you would be given. So take a quick look at it, maybe like whatever things you all need to have it while you are empathizing with the user. First thing is, what does that person think and feel when you're talking about his problems? So you need to understand, what does that person think about that particular problem? How does it feel, like on an emotional level, or morally, how does he feel about it? Then is what do you see? Like, how does his environment look like? How does his daily life look like? Because then you will be able to generate appropriate solutions for it. Then you have, what does they say and do? So most importantly is, I might be having very progressive thoughts towards things, but you couldn't be seeing it in my actual application. So that person might be saying, हाँ मैं ये कर लूँगा, but आपको नहीं दिख रहा है कि वो कर रहा है या कर रही है. So that is where you observe and engage with the user and understand, okay, that person has certain thoughts, but is it being used in real life? Then we have, what do we hear about them? So you need to talk to their peers also. Like, what is the general understanding of this person? How is he around with people? How is he around with his colleagues? And all those things, so that you get a clear picture of things. अभी तो खैर हम लोग जब problem solve करेंगे तो it has to be based on assumption. But when we are talking to actual people, it can't be like that. We need to use certain methods which are not, to be compromised on to build solutions. Okay. So then you identify their pain points and their gain points. So pain points is something that you need to work on. Gain points are something which are already there and which can be used in your solution, basically integrated onto your solution, so that there is a perfect balance of everything. So that person does not feel alienated by this concept कि अरे okay मैंने इतना कुछ बना दिया, but then ये मेरे समझ ही नहीं आ रहा है अगर उसके वहाँ पे gain points नहीं. Okay, so now let's hear a quick story where you understand the power of empathizing with people, and this is a healthcare one, so I feel definitely you could relate.
Doug Dietz. I'm the principal designer for Global Design at GE Healthcare, and I'm the lead designer for Adventure Series. The Adventure Series is really an activity that we've been working on to see what can we do around our diagnostic and imaging equipment to make it friendlier for both the family and for young patients. We have large diagnostic imaging equipment at GE Healthcare. They're huge, and some of them make noises. Adventure Series is really looking at it really from the child's perspective, looking at where their anxiety points are and coming up with some really nice solutions that help those, whether those are visually taking over the room in a theme, like a jungle theme or a pirate adventure or something, as well as music that leads them into the room and coloring books. So we want to have elements that address all the anxiety points.
My name is Liz Auer. Where is this? Well, we're here today for a CT scan of Duncan's sinuses. He's had some really chronic congestion and coughing. So we're going to have a look, see what's going on in there. And the pirate room was pretty cool. The room was painted completely like a pirate setup, including the floor. The floor was like a dock with the water on the sides, and animals and things on the walls. And the CT scanner itself was like the wheel of a pirate ship. It's for a child, it can be kind of scary. You see things that make noise and very institutional. And this is you're not even really thinking about the fact that you're doing a procedure. Very, very welcoming, very whimsical and fun.
Distraction starts out with a few items to try to catch the child's attention. But you need more than that. You have to have buy-in from the staff, the physicians, from the nurses, the technologists, and even the families, so that when they come here and they see what we've done and how we've decorated the rooms, they feel as if they really are on an adventure. And they feel when they're having their scan, there's no need to be panicked or afraid. So that when they get up out of the scan and they leave, they're walking out that door with a positive feeling.
We really started rough with our ideas, and behind you'll see some of the sketches that we came up with, just pencil and pen, getting our ideas down. And we thought from the beginning what a powerful thing would be to have a cross-functional team that allowed us to look at this from many different filters. We brought in child eye specialists who work with Fern Schupak, director of the Children's Museum here in Milwaukee.
We're thrilled that GE approached us, and we serve 200,000 children and adults every year. I think they felt that they really could, be driven, their project could be driven in part by the expertise that we can offer in terms of how to meet the needs of children and families. As an adult who's gone through scary medical testing, I know there's just tremendous anxiety. The difference with children is that, our ability as adults to explain to them what they can expect. Children are creatures of habit. They really rely on their senses to understand their world. As an adult, I walk into a hospital and I say, oh, I hate that hospital smell. For a child, it's why doesn't it smell like my pajamas? Why doesn't it smell like my mom? Why doesn't it smell like our kitchen? This is the essence of the childhood experience. We need to be more focused on the needs of children and families, whether it is in the context of a medical procedure or early childhood development as a foundation for doing better in school. So, and this is another area where I think the GE team was incredibly receptive to the message that we're carrying, which is as a community, and I mean that in sort of a global sense, as a community, we always need to be pushing the envelope in terms of what we can do to meet the needs of children and families and make their experience richer, more rewarding if we want better outcomes.
Why I really wrapped myself around this and tried my best to pull in some of the best people that I could to work with me is that I always kept in my mind that frightened child was going through cancer, but was really having some problems going through their skin. Man, it's such a tough thing for a girl. It's such a tough thing for a family. And I did put my heart and soul behind it. And it means a lot to me now that we have a solution. And that the solution is helping the way it is. And it's helping these families. And what a great thing to work for a huge company like GE, but shows some passion like this that we can do something for people.
you all see the power of innovation? So now it was like, starting with the videos that you all saw, it was like normal, few changes to it. But now this video, you all see how the user's journey was mapped, taking things as simple as the smell, as in which kids are, receptive to. Kids, any human beings, like something which does not feel home, we do not feel safe under those circumstances, and all those things were taken into consideration for a simple MRI thing. Kids do get a lot scared. Kids, even adults get scared because of looking at that huge machines with that MRI ring rotating around. So it is a daunting experience. But then they made sure that they were working in collaboration with not just medical professionals but also engineers, designers and management people. So the journey of the kid exactly began the moment he entered the room. A pirate's cap was put on. So it was not just, they took to the room and देखो ये एक animated MRI अब घुस जाओ इसके अंदर. नहीं, right? So the entire journey was mapped. It was ensured from the start that the kid is comfortable. He is seeing the parents around him. He is made to wear clothes maybe of a favorite cartoon character or something like that. Then he is taken to an MRI room which has a similar, smell. So all those sensories, organs of him were also made sure that, they are all comfortable, and basically an environment was created where the kid feels comfortable, and it would be a lesser daunting experience. The fear wasn't like, entirely eliminated, but yes, efforts were made. Okay. So now, uncle की problem हमको समझ आ गई थी. Like, how to be, उनकी जर्नी भी हमने मैप कर ली. वो सुबह कितने बजे उठते हैं, कब जाते हैं, क्या करते हैं, हॉस्पिटल आके and everything. So now what we need to do is, we need to define his problem. We did have a lot of information around. So now what we need to do is, converge करना है. हम जब empathize कर रहे थे तब हम क्या कर रहे थे? क्या कर रहे थे? Divergence of things were there, but now what we are doing is, we are toning it down, getting onto a thing wherein which we could work. So define phase is a very vital phase of your design thinking process, wherein you exactly define what problem that needs to be solved. Okay. So basically what we do is we synthesize whatever information that we've gotten from the user. We make sure to build it onto an actionable statement which is to be worked on. Okay. So now creating your user personas are very important. You do get a general understanding of what exactly that person is, but now you need to put things on the table. That is how you will visualize and make things better. So what you do is you build an entire user persona. For say, name that uncle as A. Okay. So what are his behaviors look like to you? He is pretty much cranky. He looks distressed. He looks anxious. So that is what we see around his behavior. Guys, you have to map all these things. So please make sure you make a note of things. Okay. Then is the demographics of that person. Maybe like a 60-year-old man, frail, looks pale, doesn't have energy to do a lot of things. Okay. Then what you see is what are his needs and goals. His needs and goals are to have a hospital around him, which is a bit economical, a bit feasible for him, which is at maybe a walking distance, which has at least a few resources that could be termed as a specialty hospital, so that all of his majorly all of his issues are resolved. Okay, so that is how you do your user mapping, wherein you jot down their general demographics, their behaviors, what do they exactly need, and what are the goals that they are looking forward to. Okay, so now you understand that person's journey and you have mapped down a few things. But now you need to put information on how you feel about it, right? So then what we do is we have a point of view statement wherein you and your team is trying to address what are you trying to solve. Because maybe like a medico interviewed and the patient, but the engineer does not understand those complexities. So now how do you put it to an engineer or maybe any other people, like maybe the design team or the management team or any stakeholder which is involved in building a solution for it? you give a simple POV statement. So what happened? We met uncle. He looks, he was sitting at the hospital. So what do we see? We were surprised to notice that he looked a bit anxious, he looked frail, he looked, all messed up and basically in a very bad situation. So we wonder if it actually means that he is actually, done with this situation. He is actually done with the entire experience of coming to a hospital and going through the entire process. And now we wonder if this means that he needs whatever things that we mentioned, like a better healthcare service, something which is agronomic and all those things. So what are you exactly doing is, you are mapping that user's journey onto a single statement so that by the end of time, it would be game changing to have which is your actionable item, have what, right? So for everything that you're building, like the problem statements that we would be giving out as a part of activity and as a part of hackathon, we need to have this on table, like a POV statement, like you met that person, you felt that this person is going through something, just wonder if this means that this is what we feel is, and then it would be game changing to have a particular solution. Okay. Then are your how might we. So now you have, build a few things around, okay. But अब करना कैसे है? That is equally important, right? Because I can be having 1,500 ideas on the table, but I do not know how to move about it, okay? So how am I going to solve that exact problem is something that we learn through this. So how do you build a how might we statement? An action, for whom, what does it exactly solve, and in order to change what, okay? So your how might we statement would revolve around this. Like, we met this person, he is going through this thing. For whom are we building this for? That particular person we met at the hospital, and in order to change his experience when he comes to the hospital. Alright? So your how might we statements does not have to be big statements. They just have to have these components, as in whom are you doing it for, what is the action that you are going to take for that particular thing, and to change what. Alright. So guys, we would be doing a very short activity with y'all. Y'all can divide among a team of say 4.
So we can do 2 on each side.
Yeah, 2 on each side. Does that work?
So you all are one team. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You will be the other team, and you 3, and we will kind of join it if you require any help.
Okay, so what we will be doing is, we will be giving you all situations, chits होंगे, pick up करना है, उसका empathy mapping बनाना है, okay, POV statement बनाना है, and how might we statement बनाना है, okay. 10 minutes guys for this activity. So this is where your actual brainstorming will start. So think of whatever can be done according to the solution. If you all don't understand things, ask us. We would help you all navigate with stuff. Okay. Yeah, Palak, please give them the chits.
So you 4, someone can just pick up a chit. Anyone who wants to pick it up?
Mental health stigma. Rohan is a 22-year-old man with experience of anxiety and depression.
Can team 1 read their problem statement aloud?
Mental health stigma. Problem description is Rohan is a 22-year-old student who experiences anxiety and depression. Despite feeling the need for mental health support, he avoids seeking help due to the pervasive stigma associated with the mental illness in his community. This stigma manifests in the form of judgmental attitudes from peers, a lack of understanding from family, and even dismissive responses from some educators. Rohan's academic performance and social interactions are deteriorating, but the fear of being labelled as weak or unstable prevents him from reaching out for professional help. The lack of open conversation about mental health and the absence of supportive resources in this environment further exacerbate his isolations and distress.
Okay, so you need to develop a empathy mapping, how might we statement, and a POV statement for the given problem description. Alright, team 2.
Affordable healthcare. Problem description. Raj is a 45-year-old factory worker who struggles to afford necessary medical treatments for his chronic health condition due to high healthcare costs. Despite working for long hours, his income is insufficient to cover the expenses of regular doctor visits, medications and diagnostic tests. Raj's employer does not provide health insurance and public healthcare facilities are overcrowded and under-resourced. The financial burden of healthcare forces Raj to delay or skip treatments, leading to worsening health conditions that affect his ability to work and support his family. The lack of affordable healthcare options creates a significant barrier to his well-being and productivity.
Okay, next theme. Farida is a 60-year-old woman living in a rural area with limited access to digital technology and internet services. She has chronic health conditions that require regular monitoring and consultation, but the lack of telemedicine infrastructure makes it difficult for her to receive timely medical advice. Farida's children live in urban areas and are tech savvy, but they cannot always visit to assist her with her healthcare needs. The digital divide prevents her from utilizing online health resources and services that could improve her health management. The absence of digital healthcare solutions in rural areas leaves residents like Farida with inadequate medical support.
Tell me, why are you feeling depressed?
So clear? I hope.
Like,
I mean, you all have got a general understanding of the problem statement. You all have 10 minutes, so it is around like 10:57. We'll start off around say 11:09. Okay. Try doing things 2 minutes extra. Okay. I understand. मुझे समझा. Palak will look at me कि 2 minutes extra क्यों दिया. So that 10 पे ही खत्म करने की कोशिश करना. 2 minutes extra ले लो so that you all just wrap up things and then one by one you all will start reading out whatever has been. I mean whatever charts and statements that has been developed by now. Okay.
Do you all need to see the slides again, or have you taken a note of POV, how might we, ये सब का?
Yeah, just we have a quick we'll just have a quick glimpse of how those statements are supposed to be designed.
But this is the how might we statement. Anyone who requires.
Guys, this is the how might we statement and this is how it should look like. So make sure to keep a note of it.
Can you sit there?
yes.
This is the POV statement. So we met somebody, we were surprised to notice that. We wonder if this means.
And it would be game changing.
And this is the use.
Yeah, they have to do user personas also, wherein the name and the general demographics of that person is given, right? So build a user persona around that person as well.
We have to create an environment for
problem तो कैसे आगे question है problem step wise it is analyze the problem
So guys, you could do the POV for it, how might we, and the general demographics for I think empathy mapping is, I think they need to engage with more of users, so that would be a bit of a task. So how might we कर लो, POV कर लो, and एक user mapping है wherein you are understanding the general demographics, what that person feels and does things. So वो एक general वाला. मतलब that will take time. Yeah, one by one.
demographics simply ये तीनों user person ठीक है.
How might we say?
User person ये होता है उसका name, behavior, उसका demographics और उसकी needs.
So पहले तो see we found this person, so we'll first not take general media feeds है. How if we start talking about the person, we'll first figure out the solution eventually. So see. We just have to user persona first of all.
Name Rohan.